I once believed that being a highborn in Malandoria was the greatest blessing imaginable. Who wouldn't? We had the finest cars, the hottest dates, the grandest homes, and more money than we could ever spend. However, I had my doubts when our governor ordered a brutal crackdown on the struggling state of downtown because he was suspecting, without any proof, that they were responsible for Julian's death. Without hesitation, he unleashed the military, or whoever these people were, on the innocent residents of downtown. These guys rampaged through the streets, beating people, destroying homes, burning market stalls, and arresting anyone unfortunate enough to be outside that fateful morning. Hours after this ruthless invasion, my family interacted with this sweet soul who had witnessed the invasion firsthand. As an orphan raised by her grandmother in downtown, Asha shared stories of their daily problems such as the constant struggle to put food on the table, terrible medical care, overpriced goods, and worst of all, the relentless abuse from us the highborns. For a long time, the judicial system in Malandoria overlooked crimes against the downtowners since they were viewed as nothing more than scumbags. In today's episode, we delve deeper into my interaction with Asha and witness a heart-wrenching dilemma I faced when I was forced to choose between this innocent girl I met only hours ago and the highborn society I've known my entire life. So, stick till the end. Hours passed, and the loved ones of the arrested downtowners grew increasingly impatient. Under Victor Comen's instructions, they organized a peaceful demonstration outside City Hall hoping to catch the attention of the governor, but that old man remained as stoic as always. Meanwhile, I stayed in the White Castle minding my own business, and as a typical Gen Z, my joy was derived from my phone. Unfortunately, every post was either about the downtowners' protest or about this self-proclaimed model named Carmen. Don't get me wrong, Carmen was pretty, but the fact that she was dating my brother made me suspicious of her intentions. Some said I was jealous of her beauty. My brother attributed it to my psychopathic tendencies, and my mother dismissed my opinions as just another one of my usual pranks. But their words didn't matter to me. I was almost certain she was up to no good. As I continued scrolling past feeds that didn't interest me, Asha walked into my room with my favorite snack, a chocolate pie. Normally, the sight of these little babies made me forget all my problems, but Asha still being in the White Castle despite being given time off by my mother was more intriguing. Just like last time, she was scared, shy, and barely maintained eye contact. For once, I tried being nice and attempted to know her on a more personal level since no normal employee would stay at her workplace after being given time off together with 10 times her normal wage. It wasn't easy getting her to open up, but when she finally did, I learned that she had nowhere to go without her grandmother, who was one of the protesters at City Hall. Furthermore, she was optimistic that the protests would lead to the release of the downtowners. However, the truth of the matter was that the highborns never heed to the demands of the downtowners. I explained the situation to her in the calmest way possible, but she remained optimistic, making it one of the things I admired about her. To get her mind off the protest, I proposed a shopping spree at the Queen's Mall intending to buy her a new phone. Like most people, she initially said she didn't want it, but deep down, she did. So, I used my charms to convince her otherwise. She gradually lowered her defenses, which made her share more about her life with me. Since Asha grew up in downtown, I expected her to be openly swooned by my family's wealth because the White Castle and its garage were enough to impress anyone, but she was full of surprises. Instead of marveling at the intricate architecture, she talked about my brother. She knew his daily routine, his favorite food, his preferred coffee, and even referred to his hair as hero hair. And that wasn't all. She blushed and smiled as she daydreamed about him showing all the signs of having a crush on him. I ignored it because I knew my brother was dating this annoying bitch and a romantic scandal was the last thing Asha needed in her life. Anyway, she was about to forget about my brother because if there's one thing girls love more than their crushes, it's shopping in a big mall like the Queen's Mall. As an exclusive property of my family, this mall stood as one of the largest shopping centers on the African continent. It offered both retail and wholesale options for shoppers, and the exceptional quality of its goods led to an astonishingly high volume of wholesale exports, surpassing the country's overall exports. Remarkably, this single mall served as the hub for Malandoria's international trade, and coupled with a private port owned by my father, my parents wielded a significant power over Malandoria's international market. Yet, the mall and port were just glimpses of their vast empire. They also owned multiple estates, several hotels, and even controlled the health sector. They did this by owning the largest hospital in Malandoria and were the sole suppliers of medical equipment ranging from simple tongue depressors to complex cardiopulmonary bypass machines. Thus, their influence was far-reaching, and the net worth of the Imara family increased by the day. Asha reveled in every moment she spent in the Queen's Mall since her face lit up with pure joy. Watching her smile stirred something deep within my darkened soul because I felt a genuine desire to see her happy. Maybe I wasn't as evil as my brother always claimed. But Asha's joy was short-lived because the Highborns in the mall quickly identified her as a downtowner by her cheap, unbranded clothes. They still believed the downtowners were responsible for Julian's death, and Asha became an instant target. Police officers began to trail her, and whispers of contempt followed her every step. I tried to remain silent, hoping not to alarm Asha, but the situation soon exploded when this woman suddenly spat in Asha's face and called her a murderous scumbag. The mall abruptly turned into a nightmare for Asha as the police positioned themselves, ready to arrest her simply because she was from downtown. I used my status as an Imara to buy her time to get out of the mall, and by buying time, I mean bribing the police. After all, money was never an issue for me, and the other Highborns were too busy taking pictures of the scandalous bribery scene to remember Asha's presence. As I made my way out, I grabbed an empty soda bottle, hoping to find Asha outside because I knew she would be terrified and confused. To my shock, she was surrounded by 3 guys with their hands all over her. 2 of them grabbed her cheeks while the third had his hand up her skirt, but she was too scared to utter a word, and the useless onlookers just watched and recorded everything. Besides, even if she had spoken up, no one would have cared because she was just a poor downtowner in a crowd of wealthy Highborns. I knew I had to act. So, I politely asked them to keep their filthy hands off my friend, but they ignored me. As a matter of fact, their leader was unnecessarily rude. I therefore let my demons control me by showing him why my brother calls me a ruthless psychopathic bitch. YouTube doesn't allow videos packed with extreme gore, so I won't show you what I did to him, but let's just say this soda bottle made a sickening impact with his head. Some shards of glass tore his left eyelid, and some pierced his right eyeball, leaving him bloody and disfigured. He lost an eye, but come on, he deserved it. As he writhed in pain, lying in a pool of his own blood, his followers scattered like the cowards they were. I seized the opportunity to escort Asha to my car and drove her back to the White Castle. What I did to that guy was inevitably caught on camera, and the Highborns were not going to be pleased. But it wasn't the first time I had viciously beaten someone in public, which simply meant that there was nothing they were going to do that they didn't try before. Tune in to the 5th chapter of Dynasty to see what the Highborns did after I betrayed them to save this sweet girl who later became my best friend.